It's Beach Cams Man and Jack from BAM, and it's Saturday night, and we've got the big guns out tonight, haven't we, Jack?
That's it, mate. Yeah, the 750-ton crane's been stripped down yesterday. It's been rebuilt today in the car park up at Dawlish Warren.
Yeah.
Travelled down about 7 o'clock this evening, and it's just behind us now. Pretty much rigged up, ready to go.
It's an absolute beast.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, we're just about to take the possession. There's going to be quite a few big lifts being undertaken in this possession. So we've got the 50-ton cantilever section going in on the opposite side of the platform, and the 70-ton deck, which are coming over from Shea Murtar in Ireland.
Amazing.
So we'll hopefully get a bit of the footage of them coming down the hill.
Yeah.
And then we'll just kind of keep a live stream of the whole bridge install throughout the night, really.
Brilliant. As the 750-ton crane made its way from Dawlish Warren to Dawlish railway station, the lift shaft and bridge deck have been making their way from Shea Murtars in Ireland. They're currently waiting at Exeter Services for Jack to call them in.
So we've just this second started the possession. So platforms are now out of use to the public. We've got the RRV coming through in the background here. So we are working in 2 locations tonight. We're working on Dawlish to Holcombe, completing the remaining of the D-veg, the possession work. So that's what this machine coming through is going to be doing down there, clearing all of the stuff off track. It's been a bit manic really at the start of the shift. You've got to try and get all the paperwork sorted, all the inductions, getting everyone briefed.
Because you're running both, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a wild start really. Just making, trying to orchestrate everything really. Get everybody in the right place at the right time, and you'll see throughout the night there's a lot of lifts and a lot of deliveries that we're planning and managing as well. So just trying to keep everybody in contact, and it also makes it even puts more pressure on me because we're recording the whole thing tonight as well. So as you can
and they're watching live.
So as you can see, I'm obviously all fully PPE'd up, ready to go. So
you're going to get your hands dirty tonight then, Jack?
Our hands dirty every weekend. The engineering team have let me down again. No one wanted to come in for the bridge install, so I'm doing a bit of the engineering tonight. So this RRV is just going to be travelling past in a minute. We put what's called tildons down in the forefoot. So the forefoot is the section in between both the railway lines. You can see the red lights there. That basically warns an RRV operator as he's approaching an area that people are working in that area. So we've allowed access onto the track now. And obviously to work in the possession, we need, and do the lifts, we need a full possession. We can't have trains running underneath us.
No, of course.
So let's move on straight onto the crane then, really. So the crane, as I mentioned in the little introduction that I've just done then, it was de-rigged up in King's Yard, and it was travelled down to Dawlish Warren today. It was rebuilt. So on this particular crane, the outrigger has actually come off it and the Y guides. And that's what we had to take off the crane to get the axle loadings less than 14.5 ton. So on this particular crane, you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 axles on it. I don't know if 7, 8, 9. There's 2 more. 9. So 9 axles on it. So we have to get the axle loadings below 14.5 ton for national highways.
Per axle, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the crane's been, once it was had all the bits put on with this 90-ton crane in the yard at Dawlish Warren, it was travelled down to site this afternoon, and then we start actually physically building the crane. So this crane is a self-rigging crane when you add the operating parts back onto it. So all of the ballast that you can see on the back was added on by itself, and it just kind of drops the tray and picks the ballast up and puts it on itself. You can see the mats on the floor where you've got the outriggers. So we have a temporary works design covering the weight of the crane and also the loads that we're lifting. So we get what's called an outrigger loading, and we design the temporary works underneath it to support the outrigger loadings at the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario would be when this crane is lifting a 70-ton load, because all of the load is being transferred back down through these legs. And as it slews around, the loads get transferred around the outriggers. The guys are actually working behind the crane at the moment because the crane hadn't slewed round to the tree, because we don't slew the crane in the direction of the track during normal daytime, because trains are still running. So it hasn't actually slewed round that way. So there's a few trees that is catching on the back of the crane because it's so big. So there's a few of the guys just giving them a bit of a trim down,
yes, okay.
and then we're going to get straight on with stripping the shutters out on the seaward side, which
Over
need to
there.
happen before we can land the cantilever section.
After a 3-day journey from Shea Murtagh in Ireland, Jack calls the precast to site from Exeter Services where they've been waiting.
They travel together with an escort vehicle, so when we bring them down to site, they actually can't go around the one-way system because the loads are too wide.
You couldn't leave these in Dawlish Warren, could you, because of the size? So they've been in, is that Exeter Services, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. So they travel them from Exeter Services, and they actually can't fit into one L's compound, a compound on the hill.
Yeah.
So these have had to come straight from the services straight into us. So you can see the width of the bridge deck here, and that's why.
Oh yeah, see it hanging out the side.
So it's hanging out the side of it on both sides that much. So all being well, in the next 5 hours,
We'll have a bridge.
That bridge will be over the
railway.
Over the railway. Lift shaft section 3. That is going over to the seaward side and going to be installed. It's slightly wider than the landward side.
Yeah.
Just because the wall's a bit thicker because of the shield wall. The guys are just unchaining that now and getting ready to lift this in the possession, probably within the next hour and a half once the shutters are out.
Okay.
So I mentioned the other day about the lifting beam, which is what we're going to be using to lift the deck. That's been now fully assembled prior to the start of the possession. So the beam is about, I think it's about 16 metres in length. Obviously weighs quite a bit fully assembled. And they've just got to put some of the additional lifting tackle on this when we get started with the lift, once it's been lifted up off the floor. So this is Andy from Notus Contract Lifting. So Notus are a contract lifting subcontractor of ours. Andy is our lift supervisor tonight, so he kind of controls and plans all the lifting operations that go on site, coordinates the lifts with myself. Do you want to just give him a bit of a run through kind of what we'll be doing tonight and what you've done with the crane and how you've got it here because of the complications with the delivery and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so 750 tonne crane had to be sort of stripped of its back riggers and its super lift to get its axle weights down to get it down through the A38. So first off was down at the Warren, a couple of miles down the road, down there this afternoon. Had to put the riggers back on, super lift back on, and then escort it back in. Quite tight roads down here.
Yeah. And a tight schedule as well, because we didn't find out we had to do that till Wednesday, did we?
Nah.
Before they can install the lift shaft section, they need to remove the shutters from around what will be the lift control room and the stairs.
So shutters are coming out now, bots are going to strip them out, and then we've got the lads working on the scaffolding tower over there. The scaffolders are in from OK Scaffolding.
Yeah.
So quite a lot of subcontractors to manage tonight, a lot of people to coordinate together. In total, we've probably got about 18 men here.
While they're removing the shutters, Jack took me down to Phase 4 at Corriton Cove, where they're working on what will be called Cliff Behavioural Units, or CBUs.
So this is CBU 25, spread between 2 locations. So the left-hand side here is below the residence properties. The right-hand side and the gully feature over this section is above the tunnel portal, when most of that's already been de-vegged. So this whole area is getting nailed and netted as part of Phase 4.
Okay. So we've got Corriton Beach to the left, haven't we?
Yeah, that's it. So Corriton Beach to the side of the fencing. And the guys are aiming to finish all the D-beds in this area here this weekend. So we have the two arborists and tree climbers up the top there.
Yeah.
They're suspended on rope access systems from the top, so they're level 1 operatives. And there's a level 3 at the top who rigs and sets all the ropes.
Yeah.
You have to have a level 3 supervisor when you're on site doing the D-veg. And as you can see, they just drop the materials down to track here. We've got the other operatives working over here. As the material comes back down, it gets processed and into ton bags, so it gets put onto the back of the RRV, and then taken back down to Dawlish Warren at the end of the night, and then we dispose of it from there. So we're not actually taking the root structure out itself. We wouldn't ever want to take the root structure out of the cliff because you'd end up damaging the cliff face. And the roots are like I said earlier in the talk that we were doing down there. The roots are actually stabilising the cliff. But only really it's like not very deep into the cliff, only at real surface level. That's where the nails and the netting come in. So we've just landed cantilever, well, lift shaft unit 3 with a cantilever slab on. As you can see, all the kind of couplers are cast in the floor again. That's for us to do a casting once we've landed the bridge deck and once we've landed the staircases, which come up the top then, and it joins the staircase and the deck to the lift tower. So that's what these couplers are here, and there's some in the wall that's underneath this section here. At the minute, I'm just using the total station and the engineering kit, so I've got the total station set up down there. And what I'm doing is I'll get the drawings that we get from Tony G. This is one of the setting out drawings here. And what the drawing shows is some setting out points for the back of the bridge deck. And it gives us the easterns and northerns, it's kind of like a grid position of where the bridge deck goes. So I use the total station to mark out where that is. So I've put some lines down on the floor already, and that's just to give the guys a guide as they're dropping the bridge deck in.
Right.
Cantilever 3 took a little bit longer than we thought to install. Purely because it just wasn't lifting level. So when we tried to install it the first time, it was catching on the wall here because it was lifting slightly on the skew. So it was just catching on this wall here. So we had to drop it back down, adjust the level, and then lifted it back in. And obviously, as you can appreciate, trying to thread it over about 30 items stuck up out of the lift tower, feed it over the top of the lighting column, 2 scaffold tubes behind us. It's a bit of a complicated lift.
But you got there.
We got there,
You got there. So the bridge deck next.
So the bridge deck next. The bridge deck's just pulling into the car park now, and then behind us we've got the lifting beam being built. The remainder of that. So the guys are just putting the strops on, putting the ropes on there now, and then about to lift the beam up. And you can see behind us the sun's
Beautiful sunrise.
The sun's kind of greeted us. Yeah.
So then, Jack, we've got a bridge.
We call it bridge, yeah.
How exciting was that?
Absolutely great feeling, mate. Like a really, really proud moment for myself, a really proud moment for all the lads. You know,
Yeah.
everyone worked really hard again, getting everything done throughout the shift. Like I said, the cantilever took a little bit more time than we expected. That was always going to be the more challenging lift because we're lifting around couplers, all the steel bars coming up out of the sections below, and the bridge deck just kind of sits
It's absolutely perfect. So,
on the side of it, yeah.
And well done
Perches
to
on the edges.
Fergal and them at Shaves as well, because
Yeah. I mean,
it's a big task for all of you.
Yeah, I've already sent Fergal the photos.
Have you?
Yeah, he's the first person I message when we do something like this.
I thought he was going to turn his phone off tonight.
Yeah, no, I've got his back phone number.
Brilliant.
There's been a lot of people watching it as well.
There
There's
has.
been about 500 people live watching us.
I looked half hour ago, there's 650.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So thank you all for watching.
And I hope you enjoyed the install.
Yeah, give us a like, give it a share and subscribe. I can't even talk properly, I need my bed, Jack. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Cheers.